welcome Maestro Georgiev. Thank you so much for finding the time to have this little talk, because we are about to start a general rehearsal with the NDT. Whole evening with choreographer Marco Goecke. And I read a little bit about you, and you're not only conducting, but you are also composing. You might relate to a choreographer easily because you also create your own work.
Yes, it's the creative process. I find there is something in common between artists, whether they're composers, choreographers, visual artists. There is something in common, and I guess that's why I somehow over time got involved with quite a lot of new works, particularly new ballets and also other collaborative work, because in a way there is something there, some wavelength that we can tune into and kind of understand each other in a certain way. That is, I find important, because obviously in a big creation like this there is a lot going on, and it is important that sometimes we can understand each other even without saying anything. And it's also very exciting to work with choreographers and kind of trying to understand their creative process, because it's very cross boundaries. It's encompassing so many different things, and for me as a composer I find it very inspiring, because sometimes when we kind of get too much focused on our own field in music, it could become a little bit vacuumed. So I find it very, very inspiring to come out of that and see music from a different perspective. And I think it's also important in our time, because we have these strong collaborative genres that are kind of very important in the world, and our music is something that is extremely beautiful and very powerful, but also something that is possibly not always that easily understood. Mm-hmm. And I think we can find things in these collaborations that make us understand better how we view what we do with different eyes, and how we present what we are doing to the world in a way that makes what we are doing even more inspiring.
I was wondering, we play these beautiful Brahms and Bartók pieces with the orchestra. Do you play do you see or do you hear the music different because of what you see on stage? Do we perform it differently in a pit than on a stage just with an audience?
Yes and no. On one hand, of course, it gives us a different view. We are seeing that music from the eyes of the choreographer, mm-hmm. and how he relates to that. And inevitably we need to connect the stage to the music, to the orchestra. We need to make that connection and to find how we're presenting this holistic work. At the same time, Brahms' Third Symphony will remain Brahms' Third Symphony. Yeah. And a piece like this, I find sometimes is very inspiring, that there is almost like a counterpoint going on. So we don't have to try to plant the music on the dance in such a way as we, for example, would do with classical ballet that is choreographed by Petipa. Mm-hmm. But rather we are doing this almost like two very different lines that are somehow coming together, but at the same time they are very strong and different. And it's something that's in a way empowering for us to really stand for what is, this music by Brahms, rather than to try to connect it. Of course, I love connecting music like in a Tchaikovsky ballet. Mm-hmm. There is it's completely different kind of connection between music and choreography. Of course, there is incredible beauty about it. And of course, we do that. Like next week, I'm doing Swan Lake, and that is that. But in an evening like that, it is wonderful to play these extremely well-known and very, very powerful pieces, Bartók Concerto for Orchestra. That's always fantastic for us to make work and to to present to our audience is fantastic.
So you can understand or see why the choices have been made for instance, Brahms or Bartók. So it's actually a counterpoint. It's not.
It is reflecting it in a way, but just as in a counterpoint. We don't have two tunes that are completely unrelated to each other, but at the same time, it's not like two instruments playing in parallel thirds. It is something else, and it's kind of a modern kind of counterpoint that is in a very almost conflicting way, and I think it's very, very touching. There are so very touching moments in what Marco is doing in this choreography that you can really, it's kind of almost stressful to see, but it's so touching and relatable. It's really, you can understand what he means, even though it is abstract, because we are dealing with a ballet without a narrative, which is another brave thing about this piece. We are having a full-length ballet without a storyline behind it, but it really relates in these moments. You feel what he means, even though it is not something so specific as a storyline.
Did you yourself created ballet music already?
Not specifically ballet music. I have had some of my music choreographed, but that was some of my first symphony was done in a balletic work, but I haven't written yet specifically for ballet. It's a special thing. It's got to be a special collaboration after that many years of working with choreographers. I can see that it's very important how well one should really collaborate with the choreographer. So I'm not in a rush to shoot off any kind of ballet music. It's very special for me.
Yeah, no, you're not in a rush, but you are a very busy man. But thank you for this talk. I think we have to get ready for the general rehearsal.
Thank you very much.
I hope we will have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.